I'm Frank Garza, and welcome to Here and Abroad, a podcast that follows the U.S. men's national team and their player pool across Europe, MLS, or wherever else they play their club football. On today's show, we're going to discuss USMNT center back Mark McKenzie and how he's been performing since joining Toulouse. He signed with the French club this summer after spending the past 3.5 years in Belgium at Genk. To help me today, I've invited Clément Boivin to join the show. Clément is a member of La Foy des Matchs, a radio show covering Toulouse Football Club news. Clément, welcome to the show.
Hi, Frank. Thanks for having me. Really glad to be here with you today.
Very nice to have you here. It's Saturday afternoon, my time, Saturday evening, your time. So I appreciate you being here with me on this weekend evening. Excited to talk about Mark McKenzie. You've had the chance to watch him now for, I guess, a couple months.
Yep.
What's your overall impressions of him since joining the club?
Well, it's a bit hard to have a final judgment on him because he only has played 6 games, I think, with us. But overall, the impression is pretty good. He's coming at a time where we are, renewing our defense. We had a lot of departures this summer, so we're just building it back up from the ground up. So it takes a bit of time, but overall, I would say he's been pretty good and most of all promising. He's a young player, so obviously there's aspects of his game he needs to work on and progress a bit. But for the few games we have seen, it's very promising. And I think he could get along very good with the other players we have in our squad. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to, watch him grow with us as a player.
Yeah. What seemed really positive to me is the amount of minutes he's playing. He seems to be playing a lot over there. Can you talk to me a little bit about how is the team utilizing him, tactically, positionally? What have you seen so far?
In most of the game, he's been used in the 3-man defense as the left side center back. So with 2 other players, he's played 1 game only with in a 4-man defense. But most of all is the left center back in 3-4-3. Sorry. On the left side, that's where he has his good foot. I think, I'm not sure. It's so far he has only had defensive duties. He's not really carrying the ball up the pitch. That's not his job in the defense. He's not the one who does the most first passes to start back the play. But like I said, he's been pretty good, and he's been I don't have the English word, but il s'est imposé. He has made his place in the team really quickly. I think the only game he hasn't played was the first game of the season against Nantes, and since then he's been part of the starting 11 every time, and getting playtime consistently, almost never coming off. So for now it's good first couple of months with us.
Was that the fact that he earned a starting spot so soon and has started, like you said, every match since the first one? Was that kind of expected, or was there a big competition for one of his spots that he won out? I mean, what would you say about that?
I would say it's a bit of both. When the season started, we thought we could count on other players that ended up leaving the club. Some we expected, some we did not. So when we saw him arriving, we thought at least for the first 6 months maybe, it would be more of a backup option. But since 2 big players have left in central defense, that is Logan Costa, who went to Villarreal, and Christian Mawissa, a youngster who went to Monaco. So he earned his spot really quickly, and he even outshined another recruit that we got this summer in the central defense. That's the Englishman Charlie Cresswell. He was felt to be the one in the starting 11, and steadily but slowly he kind of took over. And now I would say the starting 11 defense is definitely a part of it now.
Okay. And you mentioned that, you haven't seen him much, I guess, carry the ball. It sounds like he's not too involved in the buildup of play. And that's actually one of my questions, because one of the maybe doubts about him with the U.S. national team is whether he's able to kind of do that or not. So are they not counting on him for that just because there's one of the other center backs is better at that, or is that a deficiency that's seen in him? Why would you say they don't count on him too much for that build-up play?
Well, yeah, I would say maybe it's a bit of everything you just mentioned. One of the critics we can address to him is that he's been a bit shy. It's just arrived,
Okay.
so it's perfectly okay. But you feel like he's not yet confident enough to take risky passes, to take the ball and carry it. So I don't know whether it's something the coach asks him not to do, or if it's something that he's not doing because he's not 100% confident yet to try and do it. But I've seen a press conference of him where he addresses that issue, and he says that that's something he knows he needs to work on, and try to get a bit more involved in that. So I would say that's positive because he's how do you say lucid about what his deficiencies are for now, and he's willing to improve on it. So I would say it's really positive thing, and we are looking forward to see him take more responsibilities in the play style of the team.
Yeah, I think we see something similar, because with the U.S. men's national team, he's been kind of right on the edge of the roster for the last couple years now. Usually they call in 4 center backs for a 23-man roster, and sometimes he's in, sometimes he seems to be that 5th one that's left out. And one of the criticisms has been maybe he plays it a little bit too safe with the U.S. men's national team and isn't willing to take those risks. And so I think that's probably something he's working on, with both teams.
Yeah, I would say that's something that we also see in the few games he's been playing with Toulouse. But we can feel that from match to match, he's getting that confidence, he's getting that willingness to start carrying the ball a bit more. But in our team, at least, that's not his primary job. We have the other central defender he plays alongside with, Rasmus Nikolaisen, Danish defender, really good one. He's more of the one who starts back the play.
Okay. So that's definitely one of the opportunities, we're saying that he needs to improve on, and that's kind of what I want to talk about next is what do you see as his biggest strengths and opportunities to improve upon so far? I know you have limited time of watching him, but based on what you've seen so far.
I would say his strength is the physicality, because the Ligue 1 is a very, very physical championship. I don't know about the Belgian one. I admit I don't really follow it. But he's been showing really good ability to adapt to the Ligue 1 physical playstyle. He could do a bit more, to be a bit more scary to the attackers, to assert himself a bit more physically. But I would say that's a good point. That he has been showing a lot of promises on that aspect, but we can, because he's he's big, he's quite physical, quite strong. So we would like to see him take a bit more go harder, if it makes sense.
Yeah. Has he been put up to a serious test yet against any of the big attackers in Ligue 1? Like, has Toulouse played PSG yet, or has he just gone up against a really strong attacking player from the league and been tested yet?
He both has and has not. We haven't played Paris yet, but we have played big teams. We have played Lyon. We have played Marseille. He has struggled a bit against Marseille with Mason Greenwood, who was a really, really good player. So yeah, he has been struggling a bit, and in the first couple of games also. But that's normal. He had just arrived back then, so you can sense that he was a bit short on rhythm, so he could not play the full 90 minutes at first. But I'm looking forward to see him, go up against the best attackers in the league. But I think that he has the quality to be good and to step up to the mark, I think.
Yeah, and I just mentioned this, his performances with the U.S. men's national team. We saw him come into camp the last window, the October window, when he started a friendly match against Panama and performed, really well. What have you heard him speak much about the U.S. men's national team, his ambitions around that, his focus around that? I mean, what have you heard him say about his participation with the U.S. men's national team?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I haven't heard him talk a lot about it, but he has mentioned that it's that he's really proud to be called up regularly with the U.S. national team, and they saw also Toulouse as an opportunity to step up a bit and maybe install himself a bit more obviously, I would say, in the U.S. national team. But yeah, you can sense that it's a real pride for him to be called up and to be part of the squad. And I think stepping to Toulouse could allow him to be a regular part of the U.S. national team and maybe earn a spot in the starting 11. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the best performance I've seen from him with the U.S. men's national team was this last window, and so I think we're already seeing him stepping up into a bigger league on a bigger team. Maybe we're already seeing some rewards, from that, and hopefully that will continue as he gets more and more minutes with the club.
Who are the starting centre backs in the U.S. national team?
Well, Tim Ream usually starts. We've been playing usually with two center backs, although now with Mauricio Pochettino, it looks like maybe we might go to a back three. Still trying to figure that out, but for the last couple of years, we've played with two center backs and then two outside backs on the back four, and the two center backs have been Tim Ream and Chris Richards. If you know those guys, Chris Richards out of Crystal Palace, and Tim Ream, who was with Fulham, now he's back in MLS playing for Charlotte. They've got the most starts, but to be honest with you, we don't have that kind of dominant center back that is like a for sure starter every single match. I mean, our center back competition is really wide open, and so there is definitely an opportunity for Mark McKenzie or someone else to come in and grab that spot.
Okay. Well, if you ever go to a back three, that's the way to go for him.
Sounds like that's gonna favor him. If we do that.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah. So let's talk to me a little bit about Toulouse FC, about the club, the history, and so I don't know if you've kind of picked up on this, but a lot of Americans, over here who watch football, who watch soccer, we see a national team player go to a club and all of a sudden we start watching that club, a lot more, because we become fans of that club. And so there's probably going to be a lot more people watching Toulouse FC maybe than were before. I'm speculating there. I know you have an American ownership group as well, but
yes.
I'm thinking about these fans who are new to Toulouse, when they're tuning into games. What do you think is important for them to know about the club?
I would say the main thing is that Toulouse is quite a small club. Trying to grow, trying to build up, and to be a regular part of Ligue 1, and hopefully stop playing the lower parts of the table, and each year step up a bit more and go on and in like 5, 6, 7 years, maybe go on to regularly play in the European Cups. But it's a long way for now. We recently we were back in Ligue 2. It was before we got bought back by the US partners, and that Damien Comolli came to the presidency. So each year since it's been bought back, we are growing. We can see it. There's now a really different way of working. A lot of work with the data, which is in the recruitment, but also training, games. So it's kind of a new approach for a French club, because there's really no one in France works like that in football. So I think it's good because we have overperformed in the last couple of years, and now this year we are back in the ranks. I would say a bit less excitement because 2 years ago we won the Coupe de France, the French Cup, and so last year we had the chance to play in Europa League. With big games at the stadium, with Liverpool, with Benfica. So it was really exciting. And this year it's a bit more like back to normal, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But we like the fact that now there is a real ambition in the club, because for years and years, the club just stagnated and even got weaker and weaker every year. We couldn't keep our best players. We recruited cheap alternatives. And at one point, it just couldn't continue anymore. So we went down in Ligue 2, in the second division. But there's been, like I said, a lot of changes around. And now there's a real dynamic behind the club, even in the stadium. The supporters are coming back in numbers. Now there is a real good atmosphere in the stadium because it's back in like 10 years ago from now. It really felt empty and a bit sad because I think people were a bit fed up. And also Toulouse is a rugby town more than a football town originally. But this is, slowly changing, and people are coming back to the stadium, and there's a real positive atmosphere surrounding the club. And hopefully it continues to grow. So we are really happy about the way things are turning out now.
Yeah. Who would you say are the star players for the team right now?
Right now it's a bit difficult because we lost in the 2-3 years prior to now. We lost lots of their main players we had. So I would say maybe this year it would be Yann Beau, who's a young French player, a really good one, offensive midfielder. I would say in defense, I mentioned it, Rasmus Nikolaisen, recently called up to the Danish national team, although he could not go because he injured himself, sadly. And I would say also our goalkeeper, Guillaume Rest, who's a really young player, is 19, and he's been our keeper since last year now. And he could go on to be a really good player. He's played the Olympic Games with France. So yeah, we're looking forward to see him grow. But I would say those three would be our top players, alongside with Zakaria Abouklal, who played the last World Cup with Morocco and was pretty good. And the Moroccan team obviously was really good also. So I would say, yeah, these 3-4 players are our stars, our top players, at least this year.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Good to know. Good to know that the feeling amongst the fans is that the club is kind of on a upward, trajectory. That's good to hear.
It's not shared by everyone.
Not everyone.
Yeah, because some people feel like we are already stagnating. But like I said, I think we really overperformed the last couple of years. So now it's just crisis in growth maybe, but back to normal. So people are a bit disappointed because once you tasted the European Cup and stuff like that, you want to go every year, and you want to play those big games against those big players, getting these absolute dream of a team come to the stadium in Toulouse. But I think if we are patient enough and keep working without stepping without like I said, overstepping ourselves, I think we could go back to that in a few years' time. But these things take time, and the teams in Ligue 1 that have created this European regularity, all of them, it has taken several years, like 5, 10 years maybe. So I'm not worried, and we might have a bad season this year, but things are going to turn back again. So I'm not really worried.
That's good. Well, last thing on Mark McKenzie, just because you spend so much time covering the club and watching the team, is there any personal story or anecdote that you can share about him? Maybe a funny moment that you observed, something about his personality. I mean, anything at all you think fans might enjoy hearing about?
I don't think I have much in this department, sadly, because, like I said, he has been here like 3, 4 months maybe, and it doesn't seem like the most vocal player we have. So even in the locker room videos that the club puts out, he's not really put himself forward. But for the few things I have heard, he's been acclimating himself really good to the club. And since we have a majority of foreign players, everyone in the locker room speaks English. So I think for him it's easier to come on the team and make his spot. So hopefully in the future I will have some anecdotes, and maybe when he's a bit more confident to come and speak to the press, speak to the fans. For now it's been quite discreet, but that could be a good sign also. He doesn't want to put himself forward too much, maybe. So
Yeah.
nothing crispy, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's just there to work and get the job done right now. And that does sound like kind of maybe a theme with him, though, is that there's some maybe timidness. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but like take some time to maybe warm up to a new situation and really show his personality and put himself out there more. And you're saying you're seeing that there. We've seen that with U.S. men's, national team. And so, yeah, that maybe that's just something about him. He just wants to get in there, work hard right now, and then he'll figure out how to maybe express himself more and be more in the kind of maybe public eye, later on down the road once he gets some more confidence.
Yeah, try to be to do good performances, and then it will come naturally, I think. So not really worried about that, and I think it's a good sign, because he's here, he's serious, he wants to improve, he's aware of his, like I said, his qualities and his defaults. So I think that's positive. He seems like a really intelligent player, able to realize what his strengths are, what he needs to work on. So for us, it's really, really positive, and I think the association of him and Rasmus Nikolaisen can bring really, really good things. But like I said, it takes time, because we did scratched everything in our defense pretty much and built it back up. So for now, we are conceding a bit too many goals, but hopefully it will get back in order later in this season. At least we hope, because we can see that he's a good player, and we hope he can fulfill his potential, because he's what, like 25, I think.
Something around there. I don't know his exact age, but yeah, I think mid-20s.
Yeah. So still plenty of time to improve, and we all know that center backs are getting better when they age. So I think he's at a good place now, and he can only go up from there, I think.
Okay,
So that's positive.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, Clement, thank you so much for being on the show. I'll make sure and put links in the show notes to some of the content from La Foy des Matchs so that our listeners can check out you and your team's work.
Great.
But thanks again for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a really fun experience.
And thanks to everyone for listening to Here and Abroad. If you enjoyed the episode, please do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, or that follow button if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or somewhere else. Thank you so much. I'm Frank Garza. You can follow me on X at FrankGarza007, and I'll be back next week with a new episode.